And welcome to the Aspire Higher podcast. Your host, Dave Glaser. We provide personal trainers with simple solutions to build a business, master online training, and eventually open their own studio. Our goal is to share business systems, marketing tools, customer service strategies to help you build a business quickly so that it can be sustained long term.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Aspire Higher podcast. My name is Dave Glaser. I'm so ecstatic to introduce my guest today, Mr. Nate Ewert. How you doing?
I'm pretty good.
Good. Thank you very much for inviting me into your space here in Denver. Tell us a little bit about how you got into the massage therapy business and why.
As a kid, I was like the friend that would always, massage my friend's shoulders. My mom would always ask me to rub her neck, and I got to this point where I was working a lot of odd jobs. I had been a bartender. I had been, I've done landscaping. I worked for my parents in a coffee shop for several years, and I never really knew what I wanted to do. And I found this job, ad, and got all the way through the whole want ads, and there wasn't a single job I was qualified to do. But on the last page, there was an ad for a massage school, and I thought, wow, I've always enjoyed doing that. Maybe I'll go check it out. And the thing that sold me when I went to get the information was, at the time I was fairly athletic, and they were saying you could get involved with working with athletes, and I thought, wow, that'd be great to work in that capacity with athletes. And so I signed up, and now it's 18 years later, and I have a pretty thriving practice, and that's been great. But that was kind of the initial story. Was didn't know what I was going to do with my life, and that was the only thing I found in a job advertisement. Was the only thing I could find was massage school.
So the ad
wanted to do.
So the ad stood out at you, and then you took a big leap in order to propel yourself forward professionally and personally.
Absolutely.
In those 18 years, what have you done to complement that initial education, and what stood out as the biggest game changer for you?
I worked in a lot of different avenues of massage. I initially started doing rehab work, so it was all auto accident and work comp injuries, so insurance work, very detailed, very technical work. Through my time at that, I was able to go to a bunch of physicians trainings where they would talk about specific injuries like shoulder replacement or MCL repair surgery, or all these different things, and I got to see how these surgeries happen, how the best practices for rehab, and so me as a lowly massage therapist, I'm rubbing shoulders with high-level physical therapists and osteopathic doctors and orthopedic surgeons, and really just absorbing as much information as I could through that time. So that was about the first 5 years of my career. And then I spent the next 7 years of my career teaching. So I decided to get into teaching massage, wanted to give back a little bit. And through my time there, I was able to develop some curriculum for the school I was teaching, do a whole lot of research based on having to develop that curriculum. Got pretty much every certification you can think of for massage. And then I got to teach it. So there's very few avenues of massage that I haven't had my hands in. And then when I finally decided to quit teaching, I was kind of pushed into that. I thought I was going to be in this administrative role forever, and the universe kind of said, nope, you're going to go this other direction, and gave me a few nudges, or big 2x4s hitting me.
2x4s.
And I found myself in a position to start my own business, and I was a little timid at first. I had seen, I'd worked for quite a few people and had seen a lot of good practices and a lot of really bad practices, and it was a huge leap of faith. But I had a really good support system around me to give me the best practices, to help me set it up, to get me out of my comfort zone and get out there and meet the people I needed to meet to get my clients coming in. And so that was October 1st will be 6 years ago that I started the business.
Congratulations.
And so I believe your question was, what was the biggest thing that stood out for me? And I think, all of my time teaching and really learning my craft and honing my craft and being able to explain the ins and outs of it gave me so much baseline knowledge, so it just became second nature to me. So I don't have to think about the practicality of what I'm doing anymore. And I of course still take more classes and learn things. I've gotten 2 new certifications this year and things that are related to massage. But I think that time of really honing how I can explain things and how I use it for myself really was the biggest key for me. And then just being pushed into starting my own business.
Sounds more like you were thrust into that business.
I was thrust. That's those stories are for a different podcast. But
the universe invites us to do what we're meant to do the entire time.
Exactly.
So we met about 5.5 years ago,
Yep.
and that sounds like it was right around the beginning of your career.
Really, yeah. So yeah, I had started. I'd started the business about 6 months before that. Yeah.
Okay. So lucky us that we got connected. We both worked at a small studio. No, it wasn't small. It was
pretty
big.
big space.
It was pretty big, but it was a private studio space, and we were able to cross-refer and build a relationship based on the same location.
Yeah.
So we got to know each other. Then we worked together. You've done work on me, helping me through herniated adductor. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
I helped you work through some simple strength goals.
Yeah, building my strength. Yeah, absolutely.
And now you're big into running.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about this on the drive over. How many miles is too many miles to run per week for you?
For me, too many miles per week. But I haven't actually. What I discovered recently in an event that I just trained for.
The Ragnar.
The Ragnar is I don't really think I ever need to run more than 6 or 7 miles in one given time. So I think 10Ks are the distance I need. But I like running 4 or 5 days a week. So if I'm running 3 to 6 miles each one of those times, I feel pretty good. Right now, after the race, I have not been running.
You've taken some time off. Yeah, as you should.
One thing, so to that end, one thing I heard recently is you can never overtrain, but you can under-recover. So I'm giving myself plenty of time to recover because I worked pretty hard for the Ragnar. So
I bet you did, and that's a 36-hour race, and that's pretty extreme, and you did it as a team. So congratulations, that's phenomenal.
Thank you.
Not something I ever could do, but you said a key piece in there, under-recover. What is your role in the recovery process as it pertains to performance?
So that's a great question because I think there's a lot out there about massage and how it helps athletes, but really the biggest thing I see with my elite athletes I work with is it helps their recovery. So I can say, well, we flush out the muscle, so we help, any lactic acid that's built up, we help flush that. On any other toxins or calcium buildups, we get that out of there. It really helps with soreness. A lot of times people get sore. They have the DOMS, right? Delayed onset muscle soreness from eccentric contraction. Is that right? Is my knowledge still pretty on?
You pretty much nailed it. It can come from a lot of different things, but that's most likely where we get sore. Okay,
so the massage definitely helps with that. A lot of times just some simple compression techniques can help with that. And the thing I've noticed the most though, so with one specific elite runner that I work with, she comes and sees me every 2 weeks. She always sees me after her longest run of the week, so when she's the most fatigued. So it's a slower day for her. Typically the next day is also an easy workout. So I get in there and with the massage work, we're really loosening everything. We're checking on is there adhesion anywhere that's maybe not presenting itself? Is there, maybe some minor sprain strain issues that could potentially become a bigger issue that they don't even know about yet? And so what it allows them to do is get back out there quicker, get back out there stronger, and it prevents a lot of those injuries from building up too. So it absolutely helps the recovery process, but it also helps them get out there faster because it speeds up recovery. So it's a long answer to say it speeds up recovery.
I think it was long enough because there are a lot of recovery tools available to elite level athletes. Self-myofascial release, things that you recommend. And that leads me to my next question, is what kind of homework do you give to your elite athletes so that they can perform better?
So yeah, self-myofascial release is a big one. Foam rolling. I have a foam roller right over there that I show all kinds of techniques to my clients with. Some stretching. I think most people know a lot of stretches. So if they have an area they're like, I really just can't figure out how to stretch it, I'll give them some stretches. But sometimes it's very simple postural exercises. Sometimes it's foam rolling. Sometimes it's an exercise to add to the regimen that they already do, just to help with something. So there's always homework. Sometimes it's meditation, or lay on your bed before you go to sleep without a pillow and just let your head completely relax on the bed. I mean, sometimes it's stress relieving techniques too.
Okay.
So there's lots of things, and I think especially for people that are really training hard, they are ramped up a lot, so they carry some of that stress, because with that level of competitiveness and that drive, sometimes it affects the body, and we can carry that stress a little more. So I definitely try to give them some techniques to calm that down, because you don't have to carry that all the time.
No, definitely not. Especially as an elite level athlete, we've got enough to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
I say we. I'm 38 years old.
I'd say you're okay.
I say we. I'm including myself in there. You said a key word in there, meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And let's switch gears just a little bit and talk business. What was your mindset shift?
Mm-hmm.
Let's specifically talk about mindset shift. Early on in your business, and then when you saw the tipping point, maybe your first tipping point of really like financial success or marketing success. Yeah,
the mindset shift. Well, boy, we could go pretty deep here.
Let's do it.
So, a big belief that I always had was just that I'm not good enough. No matter how hard I try, no matter what I do, it's just not good enough. There's always going to be something that comes and takes it away, or something that shows me again that, see, once again, you're not good enough. Look at this. This proves to you that you're not good enough. And so, and I will tell you, actually, I had a conversation with another colleague of mine this morning about that exact thing, where that still creeps up every once in a while. I will say though, taking over the center that I'm running now, that was a huge shift, because all of a sudden it wasn't just me anymore. I had people under me that were relying on everything being successful, and so it wasn't this woe is me, I'm throwing myself a pity party because I think I suck. It was, wait, I'm actually doing something bigger for my community here. I'm providing a service that my clients love and need, and it's like I realized the value of myself, and so that was the initial mindset shift. And that's a daily practice, that's a process, but there's definitely like steps you take on that, like new plateaus you hit as we go through those limiting beliefs that we carry. So, but that was the big one for me.
Where did you first hear about limiting beliefs and identify that one particular limiting belief? Because I share it as well. Mm-hmm. Where did you learn it, and what was that first kick in the pants to help you get over it?
So I was in a business networking or business coaching group for a while. I believe you were in it too. We were never in the same group, but they talked about limiting beliefs in there. And so I'm sure that there's plenty of books out there that talk about them. I've probably read some of them, but I know the first time I heard about limiting beliefs and how they can really affect us was in this business coaching group. And it was interesting. There was this big aha moment, like when we were talking about it, and people were giving examples of what they thought their limiting beliefs were, and it just dawned on me that I'm like, oh my God, I have this belief that I'm just never good enough, no matter what. And when you have beliefs like that, all you can see around you are the things that are proving that belief is correct.
Self-fulfilling prophecy?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I allowed myself to believe it for so long, even though it wasn't true, because we truly can see whatever we want. We can see and believe whatever we want to see.
In a manifestation kind of a way?
Exactly.
Okay.
And so as soon as you realize that belief doesn't have to be true, it gives you the space to be able to start to see the other things that, no, actually, you know what, you are good enough,
yep.
Or you are, not a bad person, or, love is everywhere, or, I've heard of so many different limiting beliefs people have, and it truly is just that shift of like, well, look at something differently, like look at the situation differently, and you can see it differently, and that belief doesn't have to be perpetuated by what you think you're seeing or feeling.
For sure, perception is reality.
Absolutely.
And out of the 60,000 thoughts we have per day, not all of them are true.
Yeah. Pretty much none of them are true.
No, almost none. So I can relate, of course, and The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks was
the book,
right?
That was the book, right?
And that's a big recommendation for me, for somebody to start with the 4 major limiting beliefs that they talk about in that book. And I relate to 2 of them, burden and not feeling good enough. And I like to ask that question because when we shift our mindset as business owners, that's when we see the true success.
Yeah.
And I've had to learn how to detach myself from failure.
Okay.
Do you find yourself doing the same thing?
Detaching from failure? Not usually. Typically, if I fail at something, I can very quickly realize what I learned from it and move on. So I don't. Yeah, failure doesn't scare me. I'm like, fail fast. Let's just fail fast and move on to the next iteration. That's kind of my mindset around that.
Fail forward is something I like
forward,
to teach the community. And you said community in your own context as well. What are the key pieces of the puzzle in your community here? First of all, tell us a little bit about your space, what it's called and why it got formed and what it intentionally does. I did that on purpose.
Yes.
And then the key pieces of that community.
Okay. So SS Performance Massage has been my company for 6 years. 2 years ago, I took over the space that I've been renting from. So I was a subleaser for 2-3 years. And when I took it over, I rebranded, and it's called Intentional Path Wellness. And so we have an office here, 4th and Broadway, downtown. There's 4 treatment rooms, a classroom, and then we have a back room and a front office area. And it's, the idea behind Intentional Path Wellness is that we have to intentionally choose our path to wellness, or it's all in the name. I guess I don't really need to explain it, but and that was a big thing for me, was that I had to choose the direction I wanted to go. I had, for lack of a better term, become a victim of my own life, of just literally being bounced around like a pinball in a machine, of just, never choosing anything, of just literally being hit by these universal 2x4s and going, okay, I'm on track over here. Okay, now I'm on track over here. And finally going, no, you know what? I get to choose this. And so that was a big piece of setting up Intentional Path Wellness, of like, I'm going to choose the path that I'm going to take from now on. And it was all about wellness. So I changed, several years ago, I changed a lot of my habits. And you were integral in that, of helping me with strength training and then getting on board with changing my diet and all of these other things. And so I've come to realize that I'm actually a pretty healthy, pretty fit person who knows a lot about that journey. And while I'm not a specialist in a lot of the areas, I'm really good at putting it all together and creating a plan. And so designing this place for me was about creating a place where practitioners can come in and be a resource for people on their journey to wellness. And so we have acupuncturists here, we have a chiropractor, there's massage, there's reflexology, we have psychotherapists that work with quite a few different things. And we have some woo-woo stuff too. We have a shaman who's here doing spiritual journey work. We have, I like to get into some of that woo-woo stuff too with my clients. Our classroom, well, we do some remedial stuff, like we teach CPR here. We also have a yoga class once a week. So there's everything that comes in here is all about, guiding people on their journey with being healthier and being more well-being. So.
Well, congratulations, that's phenomenal.
Thank you. And then what was the next question?
You mentioned the key pieces of the community. That was
Okay.
the final part of that question. So what's next? What's up next for you and Intentional Path Wellness and SS Performance Massage?
Yeah, so just continuing along. I mean, I'm continuing to grow. I just hired an admin assistant today, actually. She just started today. And that was the next piece for me before bringing on more team members doing massage for SS Performance Massage, because it still is a subleaser to the Wellness Center. I just get to run 2 businesses now. Hey, good times.
You're not alone there.
I know. So what's next there is continuing to grow. So we get out there, we network. This admin assistant I brought on is going to help create some community with our social media. I don't have a whole lot of likes on my business pages because I don't ever do anything with them. And so that's a key piece there. That sort of stuff isn't a strength of mine, so I had to honor that and find somebody who does have that as a strength and bring them on, because this woman's amazing. She loves it. I told her the things that I'm in my head dreading. I'm like, well, you're gonna have to do Facebook posts and maybe my newsletter, and she's like, this is great. I'm gonna love this. I love getting it out. Like, that's awesome. You can totally do that. So, but again, as a business owner, you have to know what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, and then bring the people around you that can fill in those gaps for you, and then ultimately take over for you.
That's absolutely true. So, so bringing it all together, that's funny. We're in this trap of social media.
Absolutely.
And you've built a business without it. Pretty much.
Yeah.
And you mentioned a word in there, networking.
Mm-hmm.
You and I are still connected.
Yep.
You invited me into your Business Networking International meeting, and I've been there almost a year.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're
It's
welcome.
introduced me to a lot of other leaders and business owners in the community who are all like-minded that want to help push each other forward. How has absence of social media with an emphasis on networking helped you build your business?
Well, I think for the type of work I do, I think a lot of people are familiar with massage. Thanks to companies like Massage Envy or Elements, they're really making it a lot more mainstream and a lot more accessible for everybody. That being said, everybody knows a massage therapist, and for the type of work that I do, I think a little more personal touch is needed to get somebody in the door. And so my business has solely been built on word of mouth referrals. And so ever since I started my business 6 years ago, I've always done some type of networking. I joined the Business Networking International 2 years ago. But even before that, I would go to other networking events around town and just try to get out there and meet people. And it's been pretty successful because everybody's willing to talk about their pain or their issues if you're face to face with them. On social media, it's a little harder to be like, hey, I'm doing massage, and there's not that face-to-face interaction. There's not that personal touch where they can get to know you. That being said, I have a great resource
At
home.
There's always a man behind, or there's always a smart woman behind.
Who's going to really help with that marketing and really getting my message out there. Mm-hmm. For those of you who don't know, my wife is a marketing coach, and so she's thrilled that I hired an admin assistant who will actually do the stuff she's been telling me to do for years.
Sometimes we go through phases of uncoachability.
Yes, and I am definitely guilty of that.
Coming out the other side.
Yes. So yeah, that networking is always important because it's about building relationships, and I think in the service industry specifically, personal training, massage, any of this health and wellness service, like you have to know the people. Like you just have to know. I don't know what else I was about to say there, but.
Well, if you're inviting them into a small room
Mm-hmm.
and to get as naked as they
That's
would
actually
like.
what I was going to say. I thought maybe I shouldn't say that.
Oh, this is a podcast. Then it's still clean. It's still clean content, but we do the same thing as our consultations. It has to be an invitation. Face-to-face marketing and our Facebook personal pages are always our best forms of marketing. Networking outside of our four walls is really good because it allows 40 people to get to know our names outside of our building.
Yeah.
So congratulations on building your business on word of mouth marketing. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do that?
They can call me or email me or text or, people can find more information on the website. There's quite a bit of info just about, my approach to the work. There's quite a bit of info on the Intentional Path Wellness website as well about all our practitioners here. But yeah, I'm pretty easy. I like a text message or an email.
Sure.
I'm not above that yet.
No, I think that's a big piece of the puzzle. When I began my business, I didn't expect the majority of my business to be run over text message.
Mm-hmm.
But it is.
Uh-huh.
Booking appointments,
Yeah.
rescheduling appointments. Hey, Dave, what do I eat now? How do
Yeah.
I feel better about, hey, Dave, do you know a massage therapist?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. And then I can quickly share contact information
Yeah.
of those people that I trust. And building that referral network is integral to our small businesses.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And so I'll put all of that information in the show notes below. But I do want to go back to that limiting belief and personal growth before we finish up today, because it's an area where you and I are both passionate about.
Yeah.
And if you were to never take that step forward in personal growth, understanding what your limiting belief was, do you think you would have gotten to the place you're at now?
No, I mean, I hate to say it, like, I honestly think I would probably be, like, dead in a ditch alongside a road somewhere. I mean, it was that important to my life to really look at those things and make a lot of changes. So
personally, you understood that you needed to make strides forward
mm-hmm.
in order for your business to grow as well?
Yeah, the business never would have grown. Like, it was, I think I was at a point where everything just was atrophying because there was this huge part of me that up to that point I initially wasn't aware of, but then even once I was aware of it, there was still part of me that didn't want to look at it, and that took a little time.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that's part of the journey. That's part of the fun of it, is getting through those things that are stopping us from seeing the things that are actually stopping us. So yeah, I mean, I don't regret any part of the journey that I've had. And oftentimes I'm like, man, I wish I would have known that sooner. But then I look back and realize, no, it was actually perfect the way it was. Because if I hadn't gone through those things, or if I hadn't learned it that way, it never would have stuck. So, you know, I sit here now. You know, I think for a solo massage therapist, I'm about as successful as you can get, which is why I'm looking at growing the business in the way it is. But yeah, it never could have happened sooner. I sometimes wish, I'm like, man, I wish this would have been 10 years ago, but it never could have happened. I was not the person I am now. I didn't have the capacity, and the biggest piece of that really was looking at those limiting beliefs, like what's actually stopping you, because it's just yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What part of yourself is stopping you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you and I discussed earlier that you identified the limiting belief. We could call that stage 1. Mm-hmm. Then you get to stage 2. And was there a moment, or was there a piece of information that you learned about yourself in stage 2 that helped you get to stage 3, 4, and beyond?
Oh man, so much. It's been there's been so much that I've learned. My biggest value in my personal life and in my business is presence. My go-to when I'm hiding in my limiting belief, or when I'm feeling down, is to withdraw, to take myself away from everything. And so I learned, I think that was one of the first things I learned, is, okay, how do I fight my limiting belief? I stay present. I stay here. I don't shut off. And that has been quite the journey over the last several years of just, you know, going into every situation. Okay, how can I be present right now? How can I be more present for this upcoming situation? How can I, what does it look like to be present in this situation? And just really making sure I'm fully here in every moment that I can be. And that's, you know, meditation has helped with that. Reading a whole lot of books has helped with that. But when it comes down to it, it was really those daily activities, those moment-to-moment activities of just going, all right, how can I make sure I'm actually fully here right now?
Mm-hmm.
So
it sounds like that's a personal commitment you have for yourself.
Absolutely.
You called it a value, and I love speaking about core values because when things are bad, when things are not going well, those core values help us push forward.
Yeah.
So how did you stay on point and on track with that personal commitment?
I stayed present with it. And I mean, I say that jokingly, but I mean, really, that's what it is. And it takes diligence. It's discipline. And really, it truly is about just getting up every morning and going, okay, I'm doing it again today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take one more step forward. And you have to honor yourself in the process too, and you have to be patient with yourself, and you have to love yourself through that process, and whatever your limiting belief may be, because we all have them. We all have at least one. We all probably have several. And so just kind of barreling through and forcing through those things doesn't work, and it doesn't honor yourself. And so you probably know what book this is from and who the author is. I don't remember, but it was this idea of staying just beyond your comfort zone. So, okay, so I'm comfort here, but I'm gonna lean just a little bit over. So it's just a little uncomfortable, right? And so I could do that, right? If it was just, okay, I'm gonna stay present in this situation. Oh, it's getting a little uncomfortable. Well, a little uncomfortable is okay. If it was super uncomfortable, or if it did anything, I'd back off, and I would give myself that grace. And that's over time, you get stronger and stronger and stronger. And I think it's the same in the personal training world and strengthening muscles. But that idea of leaning just a little bit over your edge, right? Because as soon as you barrel over your edge, you're gonna miss all of the beauty of the process. You're gonna miss all of the growth opportunities. You're gonna miss all the lessons. And yeah, there you go.
No, that's really well said. And I respect that a lot, because yes, I can relate to it in the strength and conditioning world of the overload principle, just adding a little bit extra each and every day, or each and every week, or each and every month to finally arrive at our goals, and then set new goals, because we re-establish a new comfort zone a little bit further than where we were at.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Summing it all up and just one hell of a good...
You've always been good at that, taking my long, drawn-out answer and being concise in one sentence. I love that about you.
Oh, we've gotten to know each other for 5.5 years now, and you led us on a September challenge for 14ers
Right.
in under 6 hours.
That's
about
right.
6 hours,
About
I think.
6 hours, yeah.
And those were my first experiences with 14ers, and that's why I reached out to you, because I see you as very knowledgeable in hiking and trail running, and I wasn't going to be able to lead a group of beginners on that journey.
Yeah.
So in my connection with you, I can relate to finding that administrative assistant to help you do those things that are not your strength. Writing copy for ads is not my strength. Hiking 14ers with a group of beginners, not my strength. But it is for you, because you've built a community here in Denver that has the same passion you do.
Yes.
Tell me about Denver Hiking Club.
So Denver Hiking Club was a group that I started because hiking was another one of those things that I found kind of through my journey of change and finding health and wellness. I originally was just trying to create a group for lead generation, actually. It was a business decision.
Probably one of the best one you've ever made, right?
Well, yeah, we'll get to that.
Okay, all right.
So I was doing all of these events that were not fruitful at all. So I was going to races and setting up massage tables. And I mean, there was a summer I spent, I think, over $1,000, and I don't know how many hours at events, sponsoring things, and I did not get a single client in. And I was so frustrated, so mad. And I came to realize, like, I wasn't loving it. I didn't enjoy it. While yes, that was my target market, those racers, the people doing those, it wasn't the way to get them. And a colleague of mine said, well, what do you like to do? You're doing these events that you're not enjoying. What do you like to do? I'm like, well, I like to hike. And she said, exactly. You like to hike. Why don't you just start a hiking group and invite your power partners, invite potential clients, and take them hiking. Talk to them. That's what you love to do. Be in your element. And I'm like, that is the most brilliant thing I've ever heard. And so I was sitting on the couch that night, talking to my wife about it, and we're like, well, what should we call it? Should it be SS Performance Hiking, or how about Intentional Path Hiking, or trying to kind of use the names. And my wife, she's brilliant. She went on GoDaddy, and all of a sudden she looks at me and says, DenverHikingClub.com is available. And I thought, well, I guess it's ours. And so at that point, it became more than just lead generation. At that point, it was like, you know what? I've been asking for a community. I've been asking for something bigger, and realized, and it started small, and it's still, I guess, on the smaller side. I think we have about 850 members on the Facebook group. We have a website and email list. We don't do much with that, but it's become this community of just a knowledge base for hiking around Denver. We have a lot of first-time hikers, a lot of people new to Denver. Just today, actually, somebody joined the group and posted, "Hey, I'm coming to Denver next week. I'm looking for great things." And what I like to see now is the community is coming together. And so, you know, people who've been members for a while, they're chiming in and saying, "Oh, this is a great hike," or "This is a great hike." And so, and then we do group events on occasion, not as often as I'd like. But now that I have this assistant, maybe I'll do more. Where, you know, we just get out, we try to do hikes within an hour of Denver, and then we'll typically do 1 or 2 14ers a year. And it's just fun. We get out there and hike. And so, again, I mentioned hiking was one of the catalysts for me changing my life. Many years ago now, I hiked my first 14er. It was 2 weeks after I quit smoking. I smoked for 20 years almost. And literally taking that step up the mountain changed my life forever. So we keep talking about what steps, what things. I'm like, well, I got 20 million of them. There were so many little pieces that helped me along my journey. And
fail forward through one small step at a time.
Exactly.
Over countless years will help us end up here at this point.
Yes.
And don't be modest, because a group of 850 people on Facebook, where I guarantee you don't know or did not invite all 850.
Oh, no.
And this is the point of what you've created here.
Yeah.
Is that I'm a member of Denver Hiking Club. I've been on a few hikes. I believe in you. So therefore, every single time somebody talks to me about a hiking trail, I'm like, you know what? I don't know, but I do know somebody who does. Let me add you to the Denver Hiking Club group, and then it's off my hands. I wash it clean, and I pass it off to somebody who's passionate about it. And that is the true essence of a strategic partnership or a power partnership.
Absolutely.
It's a win-win for both of us. I provide a service for the person asking me something I'm not passionate about, but I know somebody who is. Would you agree?
I would agree, yes.
I think we should wrap it up there because I want to respect your time and end on a high note.
Yeah.
But thanks again, Nate, for inviting me into Intentional Path Wellness and for being a friend and a colleague and a power partner for the last 5.5 years.
Absolutely. Thank you.
If Nate's message resonated with you, please don't hesitate to connect with him via email, through his website. Give him a text. Follow him on social media so he can get another like on his Facebook page. And as well, if this message resonates with you, please follow us on Instagram, Facebook. We're very present on social media as the Aspire Higher podcast. And then please share this podcast with somebody else that you know would get some value out of Nate's conversation with me today. My name is Dave Glaser. Thank you so much for tuning in.